game 3 here. So, blue side Vulcun, Misfortune, Nocturne, and now the Karthus banned away from Jackie.
So, Curse, they're not banning the Tristana yet. They still have one more left. But if they feel like Vulcun are doing their lane swaps, then they could just leave that open if they wanted a repeat of last game, which of course Curse do.
Yeah, well, it's the Diana, Jace, and TF, so actually both these teams are banning Twisted Fate against the blue team here. They're worried about that first pick on both sides.
All right, Vulcun again. First pick with that Sona, they definitely have a high priority placed on that one. We've seen the crescendos from Bloodwater. They've been probably in half of the highlight reels that we've had, so that's definitely very important to them.
But Curse have actually left open Tristana. Are we going to see that come out from Zuna here?
I think so. Like Megazilla was saying, they'll probably return to their normal style of play. They didn't catch him off guard. Ooh. It looks like Curse has something to say about that, though, because they expected the Sona pick first, and they're actually going to take this one away. Cop going to go a little bit out of his comfort zone because he hasn't played Tristana recently, but it's really the same similar style of champion where he stays in the back.
Yeah.
Once he gets to the late game, he's got even more range than Caitlyn, so he's going to be just fine sitting there and using that rocket jump to clean up team fights like he's used to.
I have a question for you on that, though, because last time we saw Curse pull the strategy, they jacked first pick Jace away from GGU. Voivod played it against Zion Spartan, and they lost that match. Are Curse getting ahead of themselves too much with this champion pick, or you think it's going to be okay here?
They could be just mind gaming themselves and putting so much priority on taking away the comfort champions of Vulcun that they put themselves into an unfamiliar place. But I think that this one is going to be okay since it is similar to Cop style. He's played Tristana once or twice before, so it's not going to be a huge leap. The big thing here, though, is going to be how Saint can do in the early game once again, because we've seen how different the games go when you have a Jarvan with unsuccessful ganks, whereas a Jarvan that gets going early.
All right, well, speaking of getting going early, though, we've got Ryze grabbed up here by Mandatory Cloud. I think this is one of the few champions that is shared between these two players. We've seen them both locked in a whole bunch. ManCloud going for the late game mage.
And we saw GGU do this. When they took Ryze, they took a support Yorick to sort of combo for that team fight. If you're able to put a Yorick ultimate on Ryze, then he's going to be able to get off his sort of machine gun list of spells that he's firing in the team fight no matter what. Even if he does go down, he'll just pop right back up again. Bloodwater, though, since he already has Sona, if they did pick a Yorick, it would be like a top lane Yorick, and we haven't seen one of those in a really long time.
Well, they've got 2 picks to go, and I guess it could be Nasus, but you're right. I think Yorick is, I think Nasus is going to the jungle, so they have a top laner still to pick. And there is the Thresh getting grabbed. He got through last time with no one caring about it, but we've got a Rux Thresh here.
That's going to be really big for them. You always have the pick potential. It's great when you go into late game, and we've seen so many teams fail when they don't have hard engages, and there's always going to be a threat here with the Thresh. Wow, some powerhouse picks coming in here for the end with Vulcun. It is going to be that second string AD carry that we've been talking about. Zuna usually just defaults right to that Kog'Maw.
Okay, so Kog'Maw and Ryze, they do lock in a lot of crazy late game, and I mean, you call it right, that late game Vulcun, they're looking to the champions for it right here. The split push, and I mean, does this look like trademark Vulcun or what?
Yes, definitely it does. You know, they've had enough of their role switching. Okay, guys, that worked in week 10. It's not going to work again here, so we'll go right back to the old game plan. Bloodwater's pulling out all the tactics, and they're going to see if they can... Ooh, last-minute switch here. Going to go with some true damage instead.
Okay, so they did play Aurelia up against CLJ, I believe, in games 1 and 3, if I recall properly, and Sid did really well on her.
A lot of people actually like Aurelia in the matchup versus Renekton, so that might even be a 1-versus-1, because this is one of the few solo lane matchups versus Renekton that's very close and can just be tipped by the jungler presence. If whichever solo laner's jungler comes first, is usually going to get the upper hand in that one and can snowball it after that. So interesting pick here by Psycho Sid, and this is really going to be a throwdown of solo laners.
Okay, so walking through these lineups here, we talked about Vulcun being late game as all heck with their trademark champions, but Curse, they've got that Tristana. We've also called her a really big late game pick. You know, walk me through how this game's going to unfold.
So Tristana, not only is she one of the safest AD carries just because of her kit with the Buster Shot and the Rocket Jump, having just innate escapes, but they combo that with Thresh, who is a support who offers another escape. So if Cop is in trouble at any point in one of these team fights, and they've just got so many answers to get him out of trouble, and it's really going to be focused on the front line of Curse to see how much damage they can actually avoid taking during the team fights here. So we might see another interesting interaction between the Jarvan Cataclysm and the Orianna Shockwave. Sort of suck everyone into that black hole that Saint will create.
Yes, that is going to be a fun one to watch out. The combos, they're definitely available. And we're going to get ourselves into the loading screen. You're watching Vulcun on your screen right now. They're looking for that third place finish, the $15,000. They're down 0-1 in this series, but it's a best of 3. They can bring back the next 2. Now, for what it's worth, the entire way through the playoffs, people, if you won game 1, you lost game 2 and you won game 3. You went win, loss, win every single time, every single time. So if history's to repeat itself, this is an automatic Vulcun win, and Curse wins game 3. We'll see if that streak can get broken.
We'll see if it goes according to the statistics here. Curse going to come out. Looks like they're going to spread here. It won't be that cohesive invade. A couple of pings going down on the same area of this map from both teams. We'll see if they actually end up meeting in that bottom lane.
Let's see where they go. Right now, it's actually 9Jackie running to the bottom towards that Zuna. As you mentioned, the movements. But Voyboy, he is headed top. So Curse are looking at slightly more standard lanes, I would suppose. But they are defensive right here. They're splitting out, looking at just the various locations around the map. I want to see this Jackie versus Zuna fight. He's going to face check into Kog'Maw, and Zuna's like, I'm scared of robots, and he hops on back.
Jackie's so fearsome. Now they've tipped their hats a little bit. They saw the Orianna bottom lane, and it's going to be up to Vulcun to decide if they still want to keep their AD carry and support down here, just take that double golem advantage and try and press in early, or if they actually want to switch anything up. It looks like they're going with the game plan that they had laid out.
Okay, so we'll see as these guys move on throughout their lanes. Looks like only one change here for Curse. And now Ori did put a ward down, and Bloodwater smelled it out. This is the one guy I've seen put more pink wards down at like 1 minute 30 than anyone else. He always sweeps someone's ward.
He wants to get the advantage definitely as early as possible in the game, because if you have a ward up first, then you're going to see any consecutive wards that are placed by the enemy team, and sort of the advantage just kind of changes right there, and it's all about who gets theirs done first.
Okay, so right now the Wolves are being started out by Xmithy. ManCloud and actually Sid, I should say, ManCloud and Sid each share one of the lesser Wolves, but the big camp, of course, going over to the jungler, and he's going to start on the blue buff. Meanwhile, their AD carry and support did take over double golems, and now it's another interesting setup here as Jackie is just like last game, being given a level 1 blue buff. He'll be level 2 with a pretty much infinite mana here to start off the game. Yeah,
this is going to be really good for him, just like Karthus. He can see us from afar too, but they chase him off the little baby lizards around the golem here, and he's going to have a difficult time getting back to lane. Going to be a little bit delayed. It's not too bad for him though, because his lane is actually getting pushed into. The minions by themselves here for blue side were pushing slightly towards Curse.
Okay, so right now we're looking at the mid lane. Again, the nice attempted blue steal there by Vulcun, but it couldn't land. Xmithy grabbing his own red solo right here. And his burn smite, it shouldn't be much of a problem. And look at Curse, they're actually repeatedly lane swapping, putting Jackie against Zuna Bloodwater.
Yeah, I talked about Vulcun going with the same old game plan, but they actually, since they had that knowledge, they switched it up, sending that Kog'Maw and Sona in the mid lane. Curse reacting, very quick swap of their own, and they actually answered that pink ward that Bloodwater had taken in the bottom lane. Rux goes down there and reclaims that bush for Curse territory.
Okay, so Curse with the territory advantage here to be sure, but this time at least they didn't take away 3 of the 4 buffs on the map. Xmithy does wear both. Psycho Sid versus Voy in the top lane. A lot of damage coming up from both sides. Voy significantly ahead. He's going in. The Ignite was burned. He actually burned all his summoners. Sid still has his Ignite. Had to burn his red elixir and is now regenerating with health potions.
There's that small difference in the matchup here. The early level 3 by Voyboy does not hesitate to take advantage, make Psycho Sid pay with a huge chunk of his life, and now Aurelia's going to be on her back foot for the rest of it. Going to have some jungle assistance. There's no way that she'll just crawl back into this lane without Voyboy making a mistake at this point.
Well, she's getting the wrong kind of jungle assist right now, though, as it's Saint Vicious looking to dive the turret right off the bat. They're going in for Psycho Sid, but Xmithie's right around the corner. Lands the stun into Saint. So much damage. He gets away from the knockup, but Voy is there. Gets Withered and gets out of turret range. The teleport comes in, and he says, you know what? I actually can't do anything with teleport. Rise is not going for this. Xmithie, though, in a fight with Voy. He's got Wither up in just 2 seconds. Can he bring it down? No, he can't, because Saint shows up. Just a clean first blood for Curse.
Great job by there. I mean, Voyboy, it's all about who gets level 3 first in that lane. He took advantage of it, and Psycho Sid goes down for that first blood. Going to be a great start here for Curse as they make another lane swap. Mandatory Cloud's back mid, so that means Cop and Rux go to follow him.
But in the bottom lane, Jackie's just brawling with Zuna and Bloodwater. Look at him bullying them back. Bloodwater's low on health. The ball comes out again. With that blue buff, Jackie is absolutely being a bully here. 18 to 23 in minions. He's not even far behind.
Pretty close, actually, for him. And he's making great use of that blue buff. He's even chugging mana potions on top of having blue buffs. So you can see how hungry he is and how much they counted on taking that blue buff for him. For the solo lane, now he's taking a lot of harass, though, and he's very low on mana.
They look like they are going in. Bloodwater still does have Flash and Exhaust, but Flash TP still available for Jackie. He does get out of this one pretty safely. And Cloud trying to last hit under turret, but to compare how he's doing, 21 to 18, actually, his 1v2 lane is actually going better than Jackie's.
So the long walks have actually been paying off for Vulcun because it is hard for Rise to CS when he's pushed to his turret, but since they keep on switching, the blue buff advantage here for Jackie was mostly used in harass, and you saw him just fighting the lane over and over again, whereas Mandatory Cloud is focusing on getting those CS instead of trading for damage, and he's just come out a little bit ahead.
All right, so we'll see if he can keep himself head and shoulders above the opposition. Voyboy is, I should say, just chilling in this top lane here, happily waiting out for Psycho Sid to show back up, but level 5 versus level 4. Voy is having a good time in this lane. 36 to 20, 37 to 20 now. That is the one lane that is great for Curse.
Yeah, so it's tipped already, like I said. We can't say it enough. The experience advantage in those close lanes just means everything. And now Psycho Sid has to be on the back foot. Very dangerous for him to go in and CS. Voyboy keeping that all-important bar of fury full so that he can get off 2 supercharged abilities if Psycho Sid decides to come in and take his chances at some CS. There he goes.
There we go. Pain on a Jackie though in the mid lane as well. 2 fights at the same time. Jackie forced away to his turret, but now it's Psycho Sid and Voyboy in a fight in the top. Sid dropped below half health. Voy got the better of that one, of course.
He got off some nice empowered moves there, and he goes right back to building up his fury so that he can do the exact same thing next time Sid tries to go get some money.
Okay, so now we watch the mid lane. We've seen these 2v1 pushes get supported by the jungler a heck of a lot. Saint, though, speaking of support, is going up in the top lane right here. And as that minion falls down, he'll sneak his way into another brush. And as Psycho Sid pushes out, he's going to have an extra friend waiting for him.
That's going to be a little bit tough, but they pre-warded the bush as well, and they're going for the dive.
Wow, they just go right on in. The knockup is there onto Sid. He's not having a good time with this. Actually tries to get away through the minions, but cannot do it. Gets burned down by Voyboy. Great pickup there, and they survive. And there's another dive on the same person in the same place.
Yep, that's how you want to jungle. Repeat visits to the person who has his flash down. He's already behind. Voyboy is continuing to make him pay in these trades. We just saw how he went for a minion, and Voyboy took another half of his life. That just prepped it for the kill there. St. Vicious going to finish off the turret, and their work at top is done.
So beautiful pickup there. The turret, yep, as you mentioned, going to go down. Hop and Rux pushing down the mid lane. That one's down to half right now. They're getting souls picked up. There we go. First turret, first 2 kills. Big lead for Curse. And here comes Xmithie in from the side. Says, get off my lawn, please. Thank you very much. Hook does not quite land. And there we go. Xmithie forced to last hit this cannon minion as his friends might come in very, very soon.
Nasus is a great wave clearing jungler here. So it's a very good complementary jungler with Rise, since Rise, before he hits level 6, has such a hard time clearing waves. Now that Mentor Cloud is 6, and he is getting blue buff though, he should actually have a decent chance of defending the remnants of this turret. We see both of them trying to run back over there, but it's going to be a little bit late.
They're putting out a bit of damage on this mid turret right now. It is losing health, but Cloud does keep it just barely alive as he gets rid of these few minions, but the health bar so incredibly low, down to just 195. That is not far away at all. Xmithie's spending a lot more effort here. He is level 6, but Curse, look at that. The pressure is still mounting. They've pink warded. They're starting to control Dragon.
So they killed that top turret and shoved the lane. Psycho Sid has been freezing that lane up in the top so that he can slowly get CS and try and get back into this game since Voyboy is so far ahead of him. But because he's freezing the lane, they know that there's no possible way that Vulcun will come contest this dragon, and they take that free global gold.
All right, so another surgical move there by Curse, moving themselves farther ahead, 3.2 thousand gold. It's a pretty big margin for only 9 minutes in, and we see it as Voice sits in the mid lane. They're still wanting to pressure these major objectives. We mentioned how low that turret is. This might be the pickup here, but no, Mandatory Cloud and Smithy just putting on too much pressure here, and it will not be a turret kill picked up for Curse despite 4 members there.
Yeah, they're able to clear that one out and save their middle turret for the time being. But that was the Rise ultimate, and it's going to be on cooldown for a little bit more. They're trying to shove this lane back towards middle so that he gets a chance to actually return to base and purchase before the rest of Curse come and claim that middle turret. Oh no!
Oh no, in the mid lane, it's ManCloud taking a bit of punishment. Saint goes for the flash, goes for the knock-up. He does actually land it here onto Mandatory Cloud. And there we go, the dunk as well. Crescendo comes across, but they have the damage to kill Saint. He's been exhausted. The flash out from ManCloud at the last possible second. Bloodwater gets the kill, but Voy is burning him down. The flash comes across, Voy still going in. He gets the pickup. ManCloud roots him in turret range. He heals back up, double kill for Voy, but Smithy turns it back around. 2 for 2. The turret, though, that's going to go down. And Curse now finds their second turret.
Thought that was going to be all bad for Curse when Voyboy gave up the chase, turned around, but Saint used his flash, said, hey, we're going for this. They actually paid for that with both lives. Everybody in that ends up dying because Mandatory Cloud also decides to go back in. Gets a little too close for comfort, and Voyboy lops off his head.
And Liz, he does become, though, at the very least for Vulcan, they get the shutdown gold. 500 for getting the prior 4-0 Voyboy. We're watching, though, AD carry versus AP mid right here in the bottom lane. Last time it was Mandatory Cloud, this time it's Zuna. And it's going to be Kog'Maw trying to farm against Orianna, but it's a blue buff Orianna.
Yeah, this blue buff Orianna, she's been getting blue buff fed to her over and over, but still, look at the CS. Rise actually even ahead of her for the time being here. Jackie not able to do too much work on the turret either, so he's had to call in reinforcements as Cop and Rux come down to take care of business.
And here comes Bloodwater, but no Crescendo is available. They do have to be aware of the cooldowns here, and I assume Curse would know it as they try to take down minions underneath the turret. Zuna up to 86, doing actually pretty well. Highest minion kill count in the game so far. So that late game AD carry certainly doing okay.
Another thing to point out is because of that delayed re-engage from Voyboy on the gank by Saint Vicious. Saint Vicious was dead, and Voyboy got both of those last hits. It looks like he's going for another last hit here as he wants Mandatory Cloud.
So much aggression right here. ManCloud just ignited underneath the turret. Voy, will he take too much damage? No, heals back up with the Q. Look at the health just spike back up there, and he is fine. This aggression from Curse, this looks like the old Curse from the first couple of weeks. They are diving turrets, they are picking up kills, and Saint is making everything happen with Voyboy.
Yeah, Saint grabs that one for himself, this one. Finally getting the bounty, and the pressure continues on this bottom lane as that is the only outer turret left standing for Vulcan right now, and they need to defend this one as long as they can, or they will continue to lose out on the rest of the map objectives, like the dragon and like their own red buff even.
Well, they might be about to lose out on a lot, because here they come right on top of Bloodwater, knock him into the air. There's a shockwave as well. This is bad for Sona. Dunk as well. Oh my gosh, every cooldown being burned for that one, but they find another turret, and they find a lot of pressure on this, or find another kill and find a lot of pressure on this turret.
That's exactly what we're talking about when we say the importance of the mid turret falling. It just gives the jungle over to Curse. I was saying that the red buff would be dangerous too because Curse have already placed that ward over here. They're slowly taking control of this jungle of Vulcan. Now all of the outer defensive turrets of Vulcan are down, and Curse can place very, very deep wards, keeping track of all of their enemies' movements.
That is so important for them. We've seen how much the vision game means for these teams as the fight drags on. 13 minutes in, and Sid is in another battle with Voy, but you've seen how well this Renekton has been doing this game, and honestly right now Aurelia does not stand a chance against that scary crocodile as ManCloud tries to farm up his tier of the goddess. The question I ask right now is, Curse is definitely winning the early game. We've seen their aggression, but Vulcan's a late game team. Do they have the natural scaling just to play it out, or do they have to do something to turn it around?
Well, you can't count them out because they are the late game team, but you have to remember Curse's strategy of stealing away Zuna's main character, that Tristana, means that they're the ones who have the potential to go with that all-important 6-item hyper carry at the very end of the game.
Okay, so that is going to be something to look out for as Cop tries to scale up against Zuna. Right now, though, Zuna is getting the better part of that bargain, pushing him down right there, doing a bit of damage. Again, they are wave clearing against each other pretty successfully, dropping down minions. A big wave pushing toward Cop's turret, but
Jackie gets stunned and crescendoed.
Oh, Jackie does fall down. A free kill picked up. Nice job right there by Vulcun out of nowhere. This game is just all about hyper aggressions, pushing onto people, looking for kills. And now Vulcun, with 4 in the mid lane, are looking for their first turret.
That happened so fast you guys couldn't even see it. It was just Psycho Sid going right in, get the stun, and Bloodwater not hesitating to fire off his crescendo. As long as you finish off your target, it's fine to use that on a single person.
I remember you mentioned that. You have the, if you're going to use an AoE ultimate and you get one guy, you better actually kill him.
You better kill him, and they actually did right there, so good win for them.
They learned the lessons that you gave them just a couple of days ago. Here we go, Voyboy and Zuna. Actually, ooh, wow, Cop forced away as well. Vulcun are starting to really put the roam down, and they're actually starting to scare out these people of Curse a little bit. The moves, they're finally making them.
That was a little bit of confidence here for Vulcun, but they're still behind in gold and the map control. Dragon coming up in almost 5 seconds here means that Curse, they're in a great position to take it, while Vulcun really are all recalling. They're on their back foots. Not much of a contest is going to be here.
They've only got really a 4v2 right now. It's only Voyboy's far away, but look at Zuna on the other side of the map. This is Curse's Dragon through and through. That's going to be theirs. 23,500 gold to just 20,000 here for Vulcun. And it seems like they're resting all their hopes on Zuna at 128 minions.
That's going to be the late game that they usually wait for. They're just going to have to try and stall this one out and turtle in around the second line of turrets they have left standing. The next point that's going down here is going to be a fight over this lizard buff. St. Vicious tags him with the flag here, and they're trying to take this one away.
Well, they're doing some pretty good damage. The lizard is losing health, but at the same time, they're getting answered right here. And you know, their smite is available, so Smithy and Saint could have a smite fight. They both have wards in this brush. So as long as they stay in range, it's going to be an important point. Level 10, though, Smithy is higher. He gets the smite down. Looks like he will be able to pick that one up, and there's St. Vicious in the battle. Psycho Sid in the front. There's the box from Rux. Flash away. There's a shotgun coming across. Psycho Sid stuck in the enemy team, and here comes Voyboy. He's going to pick up 1 kill, and the team is ready to keep on moving forward. Where will it go? It's Rux taking a bunch of pain. Zuna finds the kill. ManCloud stuck out of his turret. The knockup in from Saint. Double kill for Voyboy. 2 for 1 in this battle so far. Will there be an answer here for Vulcun?
Crescendo just came up, so they might want to re-engage. They do pull it there on Jackie.
They get it on Jackie. Just gets exploded right there, and there's the exhaust onto Void, but Cop is in the fray. Zuna getting dropped down. Void really liking this battle right here. Ignite is on. The flash forward from Cop. They get the kill. The Wither is off, and Cop just hops away from that one. Now Void is still not done. He's looking for Bloodwater underneath the turret. Spins to win. Puts on the pain, but he's not quite Garen. That won't be a kill. Void just hops out, but still the battle victory.
Voyboy really wanted that one. He's so fed right now that he thought he could tank the turret. Not quite enough, though. 7 kills on the Crocodile means that Voyboy's play in the next team fight is going to be crucial. So much of the money is focused on him that it's going to have to be, he's going to have to make the plays as well.
I just got to really point out that 8 of the 9 kills, there's kills and assists on both Void and Saint. They've been basically everywhere here for Curse.
It's the tag team. Since Saint has been camping that top lane, that's why either of the, he's going to get an assist or he's going to get a kill out of that one. It's kind of excluding the rest of the team. It's these two guys having a little bromance up there.
Alright, and speaking of the junglers, I also want to point out the comparison between Smithy and St. Vicious. Smithy, Ninja Tabby, Crest of the Ancient Golem. On the other side, though, Saint, he's got the Locket, and he's already going towards Aegis.
Yeah, so he went with the early team defensive items here, whereas, again, a little bit more of the selfish play from Vulcun. They go with their own power items instead of having the team fight-oriented ones that Curse choose.
Okay, we'll see how that pans out in these battles. Locket is completed. Sunfire completed for both these top laners as well as they scale up through. ManCloud now being given solo lane farm. He's going to keep trying to scale up, but Curse looking for a little bit of pressure. They are in the fog of war. No wards around them. And the rest of the team is now here. They're just camping on top of this brush.
Oh, man, Dotori Cloud.
Oh, Rux actually just jumped out of the brush briefly, and they saw him. He turned around just at the last second. Poor Rux kind of flubbed that one up, and now Curse has to make their next move.
You numbskull, Rux. Stay in the bush. That would have been a free kill. Turns out that Vulcun are going to take that chance to shove up the middle, though. They're without Mandatory Cloud, but he has his teleport available.
So we'll see what they do with this one. Curse are right there around the corner. They run up to the right-hand side. They got Cop a little bit split from the team. There's a slow field out from Zuna. Voy, is he going to run forward? Zuna goes, yeah, I'll shoot you a couple times, no big deal. But the team is, oh, Voy, he whiffs the dash over the wall. They will not be able to chase this one down. And look, they turn back in. They want to put the pressure on. Smithy just running into the front because they know Voy and Saint are behind. They dive in on this one. They got a bunch of damage there. There's the TPN from ManCloud. Oh, the Bucks comes across, but they find the kill onto Rux. There's the crescendo, but here comes the rest of the team. The fight's coming across. So many damages are being dealt right here. Voy gets the kill. ManCloud tries to push back in. Cop putting damage into Bloodwater and jumps across, but Sid, he's going to get the kill. There's Xmithio getting chased down. He doesn't like his life very much because it's going to be lost right here. 4 drop from Vulcun, 3 drop from Curse, and Sid is trying to run away from Voy here.
And the only 2 left standing are Saint and Voy. The bromance almost cost them there as they were split from the rest of the team, trying to come in from the back, but it looks like they're going to clean this one up anyway. Voy not giving up the chase, and here comes Saint.
Saint has very, very little mana. Oh, he impales him with the flag. Ace picked up there. Voy helping a little bit and saying, Saint, go ahead, grab the gold.
You could tell that Saint was waiting to steal that one away, holding onto the flag until the last second, and drops it right through Sid's skull.
Ouch, indeed. So, another teamfight victory, 5-3 there in Curse's favor. They are in control. You look at the gold, it's not massive, but it's definitely fairly substantial. 4,500 gold. You look at it manifest in the players, and I mean, just compare the top laners, 5K to 8,000.
Really, the focus, like we said, is going to be on Voy for Curse. The power of most of their team is going to be around him. We saw once he finally joined the fight, people started dying for Vulcun right there. So it's really going to be focused on him and where he goes, because he's built, hybrid damage and tankiness here, and he's got to set sight on Mandatory Cloud next. It's going to be dangerous for him. See if he can get out of this one.
Moving on forward, there is the Rune Prism, but look at that with the Mercury Treads that barely even phases him. He dashes forward, forces the flash out from Mandatory Cloud, and Voy's like, great, I'll trade that.
Yeah, Saint's circling around though. He doesn't want to give up on this one. Gets the knock-up.
ManCloud's not going to like this one. He's going to get dunked in the turret range as well. And there is Rux. There is Bloodwater. Will they be able to turn this one around? Puts a bunch of damage there. The support will not fall down. He does actually. They trade it back 1 for 1. But killing a mid laner is killing a support. That's a bit of a difference.
1 too many tower hits taken there for Rux. Good try from him to pull him back out of that Cataclysm and out of turret range. But you're right. A solo laner for support is a good trade for Curse.
And they're going to continue trying to push forward. 4,000 gold puts them in the lead, and they're about to grow that to 5.5 as they start down on the Baron Nashor. They know ManCloud is not here and does not have teleport. It is losing health, and Cop with just an Infinity Edge is starting to work this one down. And look at that. No one is the wiser for Vulcun. They're not even trying. Jackie's going to teleport in from the bottom lane. They actually ping the teleport. They know that it's there, but they're not doing anything about this. And look at that. The Baron Nashor is going to go down. They won't be there in time. Curse picks up their 3rd consecutive, as far as the series is concerned, uncontested Baron.
Vulcun had no idea what was going on. Not enough ward coverage there. Great job by Curse. Again, another extremely decisive call right there. They followed it, rewarded with another free Baron. Now Cop has a red buff on top of his Infinity Edge and maxed Rapid Fire. Means that he is almost to that late game Tristana age where he's going to be a real threat from that back line, and Vulcun have to have an answer for it.
That will be a scary Meglin Gunner as the Curse team starts moving forward. They've got the Baron buff, they've got the gold lead, they've got basically a big trip back to base for items. Only Comp right now is hoarding any money, and he hasn't been back to base just yet. But hey, look, Dragon is up. Let's keep grabbing major objectives. Curse looked great right here in this game.
Curse look like they don't want another best of 3. They want to break the cycle here. Just go 2-0, get 3rd place, and be done with it. Now they're going to recall one more time and make a decisive strike down the middle.
Indeed, decisive strike. They're looking for that one first. Have pushed down the minion wave. They're looking for what's next on the plate for them because they've got all 3 out of turrets. Dragon and Baron are gone. They've got a while on that one. All that's left for them here is the push in. They want to close this game out. Is it just a straight turret dive? Do they play a split push game? How do they punish this one?
Vulcun have to protect Zuna at all costs. There's an Infinity Edge Kog'Maw here. Bloodwater is going to have to hold on to that crescendo and use it on Voidboy and Saint when they dive towards Zuna. To protect him, they need to keep him up as long as they can, firing from the back lines, not on the front right there. He shouldn't be in front of Psycho Sid or Smithy because they can easily pop that Kog'Maw.
All right, we'll see if he does explode right here. Saint gets revealed on the other side. Zuna is trying to stay safe with Infinity Edge Zeal. Pretty similar build to Cop, to be fair. They actually are very close in gold, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. You mentioned how big Voidboy was and how big of a force he had to be in this matchup. We look back at St. Vicious. He's already got Runic Bulwark on top of that login completed, so he is very massive here. The push comes in. The turret is getting lower. Curse wants to close this one in. They've got a little bit of damage to the minions, though, and they won't quite get the push in this wave. Maybe the next one.
You can tell Saint and Voidboy still really want to dive in on this one. They're trying to sneak around Zuna, get a flanking maneuver to come in here from the side, but a good ward by Vulcun sees Saint, and they're able to chase him off here. The turret only being at a few hundred more life means that Curse is just going to take this one up. Some more global gold, and they're going to change their point of focus down to that bottom lane outer turret.
Okay, so that is where they're headed here, looking for turret number 5. All 5 members here are waiting for this one. Dissonance from Orianna, speeding them up, and they meet a gigantic minion wave here. Zuna is going to be there towards the front lines, trying to clear this out. The ultimate coming across, that living artillery trying to clear this one. NASA helping as well. They do kill minions pretty effectively, but the hook comes across, hurting down on Smithy. They might want to move in. They get some damage on Void. Look at that. Oh, wow, the burst onto Zuna. If that was a shockwave, he would have been dead right there. But Jackie doesn't look for it just yet. Move the ball on forward. They have some more punishment available here. Moving it back and forth. Vulcun trying to keep this turret alive now.
Zuna does have his flash and his barrier available, so he's about as tanky as he's going to get. He's got his one escape. He's got that extra little burst of HP, but the turret just going down so quickly. Cop gets free shots on it for days.
He picks it up, and oh, the hook is there on Azuna. This could be bad. Shockwave gets flashed, but they're just surrounding him right now. So much damage coming across from Vulcun. They get the turret, and they get a kill. Smithy forced to flash out. An amazing hook from Rux did start that out, and it might just be enough to close the game. They've got the team limping back to the base right now, and they've got a few minions left to push the turret.
It's just a case of plain old mispositioning right there. We said Zuna had to be on the back lines, not the front lines, and they caught him out. Rux did a great job sniping him.
So great pick up there, another turret, and they're going to move on the inhibitor. They have 15 seconds of power play. Voidboy is so tanky, just does not care about mandatory clouds damage. Smithy and Bloodwater towards the front line. They're looking to start something. Sid says, maybe they go in on Void. I don't know if that's the right target, though. And the inhibitor's going to go down, and looks like Curse will back off. Saint under a bit of pressure. Ooh, the buster shot from Cop, and they're trying to dive in on this one. Look at mandatory clouds running forward. He goes for the flash. He gets Jackie. They're going to dive in on this one. Can they get the kill? They will. They find one to answer, but they've lost their bottom inhibitor already.
Curse abandoned Jackie. They'll take that trade, though. They already got the inhibitor. They're going to take the win and leave. Return to their base. They are fine with the trade. That's going to open up a whole bunch of pressure for them, as all the super minions will be spawning in this bottom lane.
So that was an amazing push there by Curse. They have been in control. Vulcun just trying to keep themselves in a good spot. It's mandatory cloud, and Zuna working on that golem buff. Rise will be holding on to it, and he's finished now a glacial shroud, so that mana build is coming in for him. But his damage, it's not late game status yet.
No, his damage isn't quite late game status, but neither is his tankiness, and that's really where he's going to focus next. Try and get that Frozen Heart to at least mitigate some of the damage from Voidboy and Saint as they dive in here. Because Zuna, if he makes that mistake again where he's out of position, then Mandatory Cloud is really going to have to be the hero of this team. Pop his ultimate and try and get off the AoE damage. That being said, if Zuna does make another positional mistake like that, it will end up costing them the game.
Okay, that is not something that Vulcun wants to do right now. Their backs are against the wall. This best of 3 for 3rd place and $15,000 is currently being led by Curse. They won game 1 rather convincingly, and game 2 looks a little bit similar. They're up 8,000 gold. Baron, Nashor, and Dragon both about a minute away right here, and this game has been Curse's so far.
The one thing that Vulcun do have is the teleport on Mandatory Cloud available. So they can at least have him try and hold off the bottom wave while the rest of the team defends, and then hopefully teleport in at an opportune moment when Curse makes a dive to try and turn that around. So they're really hoping for dive and a misplay here from Curse to switch it up.
So you mentioned the split push there from ManClever, the teleport there. Does Curse even deal with the split push, or they just 5-man the base and make them react to
They
to
do
Curse?
not have to. They're the ones calling the shots right now. They're forcing Vulcun to react to them. As you can see, they give up that outer turret even, not even choosing to defend it. Now, Cop, his range has gotten pretty good, and he's already doing so much damage. We can't have Zuna be on the front lines again. We can see him getting out there in the front.
They look forward, they look on the Voibo right now. Cop down to half health as well. The Crescendo comes across on the back line, and there is Zuna stuck in the front, taking damage from Saint, but he might just survive. Rune Prison comes across. Zuna is still alive. Shockwave hits nobody, and they're going to move in. Rux flashing across the wall, does just survive. Shutdown comes in there from Psycho Sid. They find 1 for 0. There's the Wither on a Jackie. They find that hit there from Psycho Sid. Mankler gets the kill, and Baron Nashor has just respawned. They've got a power play here. Curse is so low on health. They've got an Oracles. They're running towards Baron.
That's just what Vulcun were hoping for right there. Saint flashed out as the shockwave went off for Jackie, so that was a huge tool for Curse that just went down the drain. A little bit lately used right there, and Vulcun, nobody went down. The only person that got onto Zuna was Saint. Saint is all tanky right now. He doesn't have enough damage to burn down that Kog'Maw, and they're going to get this Baron.
Wow, really, really nice there by Vulcun. Now, Voiba did try to split push the mid lane, but ManCloud sent himself back and said, no, you're not killing a turret here. Nice attempt by Voiba, couldn't pick anything up. So now Vulcun, they've got 4 minutes of Baron buff. They've got a dead inhibitor. They've got minions flooding into their base. This looks eerily like the late game that Vulcun wants.
This is really turning hairy for Curse pretty soon here. They're starting to sweat because this could be their chance to close it out. They only need 1 more game. If Vulcun end up taking this, then we're going to have another Game 3 series. Nothing that we are not accustomed to seeing here on the playoffs, though.
So I have a question for you then. If this happens, right? Curse knows they're ahead. They know they're still ahead. What happens to your brain when you're like, how did we lose that game?
They have to stay focused. They can't start blaming people. They just have to talk calmly about what went wrong in that fight. Okay, we need to coordinate better next time. Whoever's got the Orianna ball on them, stay in the middle because I'm going to blast off this shockwave. That could change everything, pulling in Vulcun, doing a bunch of damage, and that was really a big missed component here from the team fight of Curse.
Okay, so now let's take a look back at sort of Vulcan's tools here. We've talked about the teleport a couple of times. This time Jackie's TP is down and ManCloud's is up on Rise, and he's slowly pushing that bottom lane. With Baron buff on this team, you mentioned before that Curse is calling the shots and they can keep pushing. Is that still the case against Baron buff?
It's really dangerous now because not only does Mandatory Cloud have Baron buff now, but he also finished his Seraph's Embrace, so he is getting that tanky aspect down on his Rise, and it will be dangerous for Jackie to go and try and stop his split push.
Okay, so hopefully for the Vulcan fans out there and the Game 3 fans out there, Jackie can't stop that split push, but the Curse fans out there, they're still looking strong in this Game 2, looking to 2-0 it. 31 minutes in, let's see where the moves go. Baron buff has 2 minutes left, and Vulcan looks straight down the middle.
Curse are going to be looking for a good hook from Rux, and they're going to have to pay attention to their own positioning too. They can't forget about crescendos because Bloodwater is going to be in the back line with his finger on the flash trigger, ready to jump in at any point to shove that one off and just turn around the entire team fight.
So where's the initiation come from? Who starts the fight? Which player starts the fight on whom?
Well, of course, I just pointed out the Rux is going to be looking for the hook, but it's going to be Bloodwater with his finger on that flash, able to follow that up, and Curse have to be able to spread out and not all get caught in the crescendo.
Okay, so positioning on crescendo, very important. Positioning on hooks as well. We've seen Zuna flub that one up before. And of course, Rux, with some pretty good accuracy, has done well for himself with 7 assists so far in the game. Shirelia's also picked up, so there's some good initiation here from the Curse lineup.
Yeah, both teams with Shirelia's means that they really value the first few seconds of a team fight. Whoever's getting that first initiate means that their late game hyper carry is going to get off a couple more free shots. Both of these guys are matching up really well. This is like Kog'Maw versus Tristana. Kind of, the two late game titans here, and they've both got the same build. Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, and Zeal going on here. So it's really going to be down to player skill and the ability to stay out of CC from the opponent's team.
And despite everything, the actual gold between those two, 700 apart. I mean, we're talking like 10.5 thousand to 11.2, like barely a difference here between these guys. You already mentioned the items themselves were the same. And the one comparison I do want to draw, though, is the top laners. I kind of go back to them because they've been so different throughout this game. Their builds as well, very different. I mean, a 3,000 gold difference is quite massive, but look at the items. You got Ruin King on Psycho Sid. He's trying to go for kills compared to the tinkiness of Voyboy.
It takes a long time for Vulcun to take down Voyboy, but we've seen that Smithy, with his Nasus ultimate, gets a whole bunch of free defensive stats right there, and he was actually able to stay on the front line even longer than Saint was when Saint dived in, and he was the only one on Kog'Maw, and that really allowed Vulcun to take him out, remove the threat from Zuna, and then allow him to freely fire. So it's really down to the minute plays here on the team fights. Whoever wins the next one is going to be rewarded immensely.
All right, so immense rewards will be in the future for one of these two teams. Of course, again, the $15,000 matchup is here. ManCloud under a bit of pressure. Voyboy and Jackie looking for a little bit of this. The inhibitor, of course, has respawned. The pings are there. Vulcun knows their base is more or less okay. The middle wave is the same. The top wave is the same. It's down to the bottom lane right here. And Curse, they're the aggressors.
And we've finally seen the divergence in AD carry builds here. Cop went to cap off his crit with his Infinity Edge and Phantom Dancer combo, whereas Zuna's already looking to get another Blade of the Ruin King on this Vulcun team to deal with that massive HP that Voyboy is stacking.
Okay, so here we go. Curse up in the front. A little bit of harassment across. They look for some damage on the Saint. This could be the target they want. And there we go. The fight maybe going to start. Saint down to about 2/3 health. Voyboy's going to find Sid. Beautiful shockwave out of 3. Voy into the back line. Zuna trying to get out, but he's not getting away too very easily. Voy is just on top of him right now. But now he's being forced back. And Smithy flashes out. Gets the heal from Sony. He might just slip with a pull back in on Sid. Sid could go down, but Voy's going to fall as well. Both top laners are gone. Now can they fire back? Oh my god, the damage from Jackie. ManCloud puts the shield down. Can they get Cup? He gets crit, and here comes Saint. They will maybe kill him. They trade 1-for-1 again. Cup and Zuna. Zuna wins. Jackie's alive though. Woo! Zuna has 12 health right there, and they forced him to run back. It's now a 3-on-2. Vulcun did win that battle. Smithy rejoined the fight at the last second.
Zuna with 31 life left after that. He is the last hyper carry standing. Such an awesome team fight right there. Both the re-engages. Starting it off with that shockwave onto 3 people was crucial for Curse too, because right after that is when Voyboy and Saint made their move to dive in. Smithy barely escaping as well, having to burn his flash and then also go out losing his life. Just such a well-played team fight from both teams right there, and the inhibitor did not go down in that. So yes, it was really just a brawl that could have taken place anywhere on the map with the same results, and nobody really comes out with a W.
Okay, so just +1 kill for Vulcun. Certainly extremely close onto that one. We're watching Vulcun just kind of clean up the scraps of their base right here. Just to recap some of the big points of that fight, both Mandatory Cloud and Voyboy had 500 gold kill sprees there, so even those washed out as well. And it's Curse now, again, looking like the aggressor. They look towards Dragon right here, and no one from Vulcun is close by.
We have that key Frozen Heart complete on Mandatory Cloud, so he's turning into that tanky Rise that everyone does fear in the late game, and that's going to help out so much with defending Zuna, slowing down the attack speeds of Voyboy and Saint when they dive in, and even if Mandatory Cloud can get close enough to Cop, the range on that Frozen Heart, by the way, 600, so you actually have to get really close for it to be able to affect a Tristana, who's got over 700 range.
And that is going to be a difficult thing there for Mandatory Cloud. We'll see if he can be able to do it here in this fight. St. Vicious taking a wither and a bit of harass there. And Curse just re-upping, trying again, saying last time it didn't work, but this time I think we got it. Zuna's summoners now are on cooldown. Bloodwater does not have exhaust either, so the backline punishment is going to be a little bit easier here for Curse. Vulcun waiting around on the front line, putting down Spirit Fire, and they don't quite find the opening they want.
This is just a repeat of the last brawl we saw. The same battlefield being chosen here. The inhibitor taking stray shots from Cop. There goes the Wither.
They are moving forward. The distance comes by, though. Jackie does keep his team safe, but Cop and Jackie have taken some punishment here. They need to be a little bit careful here. They're running back. No harass lands this time from Kog'Maw. Health bars and mana bars are full from Vulcun, and they're getting regained here from Curse. Now only Jackie is missing any piece of health whatsoever, and Curse look for round number 3 at the bottom lane.
The inhibitors also, they do slowly regen, so if we take way too long to get back in here, there actually won't make any progress. Only a couple of shots, not going to be enough, and it's going to have to be a hard engage. One of them will have to make the move. Rux is going to throw out a hook here. If he does land it onto Zuna, that would be game-changing.
They put some punishment actually onto Saint right there. Saint goes forward onto Zuna, gets the knockup right there. Cristiano comes across the back line. Look at the punishment onto Saint. He's going down so incredibly quickly. Psycho Saint is helping, but there's a shockwave. Is it going to be enough right there? Look at that, 2 dead so far. Now Rux forced to run away. Void standing on top of Zuna. He gets the kill. Now can Void get out of this fight? Rude Prison and ManCloud says no. The explosion from Zuna. Now only Cop is alive. 1 versus 3. Will they chase him down? Mandatory Cloud is running. There's the rocket jump, and they're like, all right, Cop, you got out. No big worries. But again, a +2 fight here for Vulcun. They got +1 last time. That number is growing.
Cop was focusing Smithy that entire fight. He was shooting him the whole time there. And Smithy has a Randuin's Omen, which is going to automatically slow the attack speed there down by 15%, as well as adding that armor. So even though Cop survives this time, he's the AD carry standing, his team does lose out. And the rest of Curse, having dived in onto Zuna to take him out, all paid for it with their lives.
And they're moving towards Baron Nashor right there. Sid was in the middle of sweeping away this top lane wave. He says, no, I'm going for Baron right here with Mandatory Cloud. Bloodwater's coming by as well. They don't even have Zuna or Smithy. They're doing without Smite, and Saint is already on his way. Smithy is not even alive. This is going to be a race against the clock because Saint could always steal, but it looks like the clock is ticking a little bit too slowly here for Curse as Baron Nashor is dropped now down to 1/5 health. Cop is nearby. He might chance for the steal right here. It's going to be a little bit close. The punishment comes out. ManCloud and team do pick it up. Now Cop might have to run away. Rude Prison was down, so they could not punish Cop, and he gets out of that one.
So they come out with that one with the Baron off the back of the kills, and Vulcun are turning this game around. We are now in their territory, the late game, where Bloodwater thrives.
Okay, and will they be able to do it? Bloodwater, by the way, has picked up a Zeke's Herald. He is buying a bunch of auras to support his team right there and making sure that they are able to thrive as a group in this game.
Yes, going with everything possible to support that Zuna Kog'Maw. They're putting all of their bets on him, and so are Curse. They focused so heavily on diving on Zuna, they were taking Nexus turrets hits in that fight. They all went down there, and now they're the ones that are going to have to be careful in the next team fight because we have Mandatory Cloud's teleport available. He's split pushing bottom. He's got his Guardian Angel on top of all the damage that he can put out. So even if you take him down, he'll pop right back up.
The one guy we haven't talked much about, though, is Nijaki. He's had a pretty good game overall. He was the carry of last one, and he's got a Death Cap as well as Void Staff as well as Seraph's Embrace on Orianna. The guy puts out some really big damage.
Yeah, and his defensive item that he's choosing is going to be that Zhonya's Hourglass instead of the Guardian Angel. So it's going to depend on the skill and the timing with which he uses that one, because Guardian Angel, easy to use. All you have to do is die, and you come back to life. Zhonya's can be game-changing, though. That's a little bit harder to use, and you want to be able to avoid the damage, trying to have the foresight to pop it before you get hit.
We'll see how good Jackie's timing is. He's got 6 deaths, actually, the most on his team, which is, I don't know if it's misplaced by Jackie or amazing target prioritization from Vulcun, but they have seemed to get him in most of these fights here, and we'll see if that Zhonya's will come out in time to keep him alive, because with the Baron buff, Vulcun still has 2 minutes left on it. They're starting to make their way towards this mid lane here. Now Vulcun, for really the first time, are the aggressors.
And they have everything available for them. Look at that, 10 summoners, 5 ultimates. They are ready to dive on this turret. It's so low right now. Curse have to be very careful where they make their last stand, because the Baroned up team of Vulcun are hungry.
They get a Wither on the Cop. He does burn his rocket jump to get out. I'm just going to keep moving forward right here. Vulcun pushing in toward the base, and they stop back right there. The distance from Orianna does put a bit of pressure there and keeps them from pushing in on the turret.
Well, the next most important thing is the Wither on Cop constantly being reapplied. He's only got 1 cleanse. So if he uses that early, Vulcun can back off and then return to the team fight when Wither's back up and Cleanse is not back up. Because the only difference between these two, the main difference between these two hyper carries is that Wither in the end game. If Smithy lands that onto Cop, then he'll be able to survive for much longer in the back line, and it takes out so much of Curse's late game potential.
So that will be one thing to keep your eye on, is look for those locusts to fly around and keep Cop from doing much. Right now, it's Bloodwater and Zuna shoving in the top lane. They see Voyboy, they see Cop. That is a scary duo to deal with right there. And right now, Vulcun does back off. They've got Mandatory Cloud in the bottom lane, though. Both AP mids do have teleport available, so they can both rejoin the fight. But look at this for Vulcun. They are letting him push in the bottom side, even while their Baron takes down. It's about over.
We still have the Ryze split pushing. His teleport available. They're going to make the move on this turret. Kog'Maw can pop his W to shoot the turret from afar, but that means that if Curse engage after that, it's going to be a large pool that's down for Zuna and put him in a little bit more of a compromising position.
And it seems that Curse will give that one up, though, and allow Mandatory Cloud to kill the bottom turret. Baron buff has timed out. The gold, 66.3 to 64.6. Very, very close here. Vulcun have actually a gold lead here for one of the first times ever. Despite being down in kills, despite being down in turrets, but they've got a small margin here. Vulcun and Jackie, I should say ManCloud and Jackie, 1v1 down here at the bottom. Smithy starting to push on forward, and here's the rest of Vulcun. The turret's taking some damage. There's a pull on to Sid. They're going to go in for the knockup. Here comes the battle. Sid's going to get hit with Cataclysm. Zuna is safe, but here comes Voyboy in the back line. Crescendo comes across too. There's the battle starting out. Jackie shows up first. Oh, Shockwave comes across. Cop gets the kill onto Smithy, and they're pushing back onto Psycho Sid. Voyboy's not in a great place right now, and here we go. Saint in the front onto Zuna. They will try to pick up the kill, and Cop is Goomba stopping around. They're finding kill after kill right now. Cop stays alive and jumps away. He does finally fall over. Now it's Mandatory Cloud starting to find some damage. Ruck starting to fall over, trying to run away. 2 versus 2 right now. They get 2 versus 1. Triple kill for Mandatory Cloud. Only Voyboy stands alive.
Great start there by Curse. They were able to have a really good chance in that team fight because that cleanse was up for the Wither. Was able to continue putting out damage this time, but Mandatory Cloud's Ryze is coming in at the end there. Too much for them to handle, and it's going to be 2 versus 1, taking down this turret for Vulcun.
That is going to fall right there. 6 to 7 now in turrets, 23 to 23 in kills, and looking to make the games 1 to 1 in this third place match. Bloodwater, he gets found by Voyboy and gets the heck out of there.
Very close one for him too, because Mandatory Cloud was out of mana down there at the red buff. Wouldn't have been able to offer too much assistance, and Voyboy could have ripped apart Sona.
There's a bit of a mismatch in 1v1. I feel like 2-item Sona loses to 6-item Renekton. Would you say that in your professional opinion?
Space Crocodile versus Mute Girl in a Dress. I think we'll go with the Crocodile every time.
All right, so Crocodile seems better than Mute Girl. We're going to move forward in this one. Smithy has picked up Thornmail, by the way, to deal with Cop here. He is clearly worried about exactly one threat in this game.
Yeah, and Cop actually has been pouring a lot of damage into Smithy, so good buys by him, focusing on that armor-heavy defense. He's pretty much just been ignoring the magic resistance, just going with that Aegis of the Legion, and just saying, okay, that's going to be enough because Jackie hasn't been able to really cut through him.
Okay, so blue buff picked up for Jackie. He's going to be with some low cooldowns there. Actually, still has not yet finished that Zhonya's Hourglass. His gold ticking up. He's only 400 gold from completing that item, but just doesn't have it yet here in the matchup. We're looking at Vulcun pulling a very similar move. The blue buff, they want it, and looks like it's not going to be going to Ryze at all. Better pick this one up because here comes the rest of them. No, it's Smithy picking it up, so more withers from Smithy here.
Cooldown reduction, so strong on Nasus. I say it every single day that we see him. That's the best way to scale that character, is cooldown reduction, so you can get your withers and your Spirit Fire and your ultimate just off more. You can see he's even bought an Elixir of Brilliance to go along with that same idea, because that is really the most important stat for him late game. Meanwhile, Mandatory Cloud on that Ryze already sitting with maxed out 40% cooldown reduction, so he does not need the blue buff. He's already got the max percentage.
So the teleport is up here for ManCloud, and he is shoving the bottom lane with no one even around him. So free scaling Smithy. Ooh, nice hook there from Rux. Gonna like that one here. The rest of the Curse lineup still grouping up 5 strong. ManCloud still pushing in the bottom. Bloodwater taking some poke. Curse starting to look a little bit more aggressive here.
They want to make a move because they know they have limited time with that split pushing Ryze. He's so powerful, he can get into the base, and they're going for this Baron, burning it down.
They're looking for it. Smithy runs right into the front, gets pushed back. They're still trying to burn down Baron. Shotgun comes across. they get the Baron pickup. They hook at Smithy. Here comes the Shockwave. Mancloud puts on the shield, but he's taking a bunch of damage. Where's it all going to come from? Psycho Sid is in the backline. Looks for Jackie. Looks for Cop. Cannot quite pick up the kills. Cop does pick that one, but they trade back one. Now it's the 4 versus 4. Where can they go with this one? Zuna still pelting down the shots. Bloodwater gets a slow down onto Jackie. Can they keep this chase going? 4 versus 4. The Baron's been grabbed, and wow, Vulcun has to disengage. Beautiful job by Curse.
Big win there for Curse. They came out with it. The Baron and only traded 1 for 1. That's a huge trade. Now we have, it was Psycho Sid getting back onto Cop, not quite able to finish him off. That was really, really close. And now they're shoving up the middle here. They want to take down this turret before Curse get in position.
But here come the home guards. They put the hook down, only grabs a minion, and Zuna goes back in for the turret, losing health so rapidly right now. But Cop is here. They go in on Voyboy. They're going to try to fight a 4v4. Or maybe they're not. Smithy kind of running around, puts the Wither down, puts them harassed down, and they're going to run back. But there's a distance from Jackie. They've got to be careful. And Vulcun does run away.
There's no cleanse now for Cop, so he has nothing to clean those bugs out of his teeth. His attack speed will continually be slowed. He's just going to be relying on the 1 active from his Quicksilver Sash that he's picked up, trying to have, one more option, but that's only going to be 1 that comes off. And if they again feed this blue buff over to Nasus, the cooldown is going to be there for his Wither. That thing's only at 7.7.
Wow, that is going to be pretty brutal to deal with right here. We're watching Smithy clear out the race, getting his Q stacked up, and as always, the Q stack for Nasus is plus 429.
As always.
That's
a pretty big number.
A large number, yes.
And also, for those of you who don't know, I said it's a 7.7 cooldown on the Wither. It lasts for 5 seconds. So it's only a 2.5 seconds really there of no Wither time for Cop. So the timing on his Quicksilver Sash is going to be everything. He really needs that and the cleanse to be up to really have a successful team fight.
That is going to be super, super important. But he actually picked up Zephyr. Zephyr does have tenacity on it. So
there go the boots.
We threw a bunch of numbers at you. Cut that number down a little bit. He's got some tenacity and that Quicksilver Sash to deal with all that crowd control. But Zuna has hit 6 items as well. The Guardian Angel, we mentioned it before. That is his item of the day. Mandatory Cloud has filled himself out here. Only really Smithy and Psycho Sid have slots to fill.
2 Guardian Angels is really hard to do with. We've seen this back when M5 was around. I mean, we had them with their old name. They had so many different unique strategies throughout the days, but one of them they were known for was stacking those Guardian Angels, and it was just so effective because once you kill them, they pop right back up again. It turns into sort of a 7-on-5 with the delayed arrival of those extra partners, and that's really game-changing in the 40, 50-minute almost now games.
Yeah, the players are so rich that Satan has picked up Captain Enchant on his boots right now. He's trying to make his team run faster in team fights.
And yeah, he wants people to be able to engage off the back of him, and he's going back in right now.
He goes right in, gets the rip. There's the Cataclysm. Oh, a beautiful Crescendo hits everybody with a shockwave, catches 3. Saint's taking a lot of damage. Jackie's getting pushed down as well. Mancloud is on a rampage, but the battle is underway. Jackie getting pushed down. Can they get the kill? Cop is a little bit left alone. He has to jump away from this one. Smithy in the fight with Voyboy. They're just trading fights back and forth. 1 are dead, but 3 are dead on Curse's side, and Vulcun have a 4 versus 2 on the map.
Seems to always be the story. The crescendos at the end of the game from Bloodwater. Zuna was so bold in that team fight. You could see what the Guardian Angel does to his playstyle. As soon as he picks up that item, he's right out there on the front lines. And they just burn through Curse, cut through him like butter. Now they're going down the inhibitor, and they want to go towards the Nexus turrets as well.
They're happy to start back doing it right now, but Cop and Rux are alive. That is a very, very scary duo to deal with. Smithy takes a giant chunk of his health down. There we go. The shield is up from Rux. They find Rux, though. Oh, he just gets destroyed right there. Picked up, and Smithy chunks the turret down. Cop forced to run back to his fountain. We're going to bring it over to a Game 3. The 3rd place match is still alive. Vulcun are going to make this one happen. Look how far back he runs, but that is it. Picked up for Vulcun.